Hi guys, I thought I'd make an auto industry in 2024 year-end a video for Kushan Drives, but instead here I am talking about the impacts of the recent announcement that Honda and Nissan made about their impending merger talks. So how will that impact their operations in India? Keep watching this video to find out more. So, Honda and Nissan and possibly Mitsubishi are merging. They are merging because they see no way to compete with the Chinese and Tesla in the EV and emerging vehicle space. And that's very clear from the press conference which I heard yesterday. The Chinese companies like BYD and MG, which is part of SAIC, have taken a massive lead. I just drove the BYD Seal on the racetrack during the ICOTY jury round, and my God, it's a great car on the racetrack as well. But let's look at Honda and Nissan in India, and this is where Nissan's collaboration or alliance with Renault also comes into play, because this is where I don't know how that's going to work out. Now, it's fairly clear that this is a arranged or forced marriage by the Japanese Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, METI. They feel that the only way for these smaller Japanese car makers, and keep in mind in the scale of things, Honda, Nissan and Mitsubishi are fairly small. Even though a merged entity, they will be the world's third largest car maker. So what does this mean for Honda in India? Probably nothing much. Honda, while a small car maker in India, they're only about selling 5,500 to 6,000 cars every month. Primarily the Elevate. Hopefully the new Amaze, third generation Amaze I just drove will give it a little bit of boost to sales. I do believe they should have a small SUV though, based on the Amaze platform. They're getting an EV in late 2025, early 2026, and a hybrid maybe in 2027. Don't know if that's too late or too early. It remains to be seen. But Honda currently has their corporate office at Greater Noida. They're not producing any cars in Greater Noida. The cars are produced at their Tapukara plant in Rajasthan, in the middle of a Japanese industrial cluster. So that's about the capacity of 180,000 units per year. They're selling, as I said, about 6,000 units per month in India, but they're exporting about 5,000 units of the Elevate, and probably will also do with the Amaze going very shortly. The Elevate actually is exported from India to Honda's home market in Japan, where it's sold as a WRV. So that's Honda's part of the equation. Now, the difficult part of this merger in the Indian context comes to Nissan. Now, Nissan has an alliance plant with Renault in Oragadam outside Chennai. This plant has a capacity of 400,000 units per year. Excuse me. Nissan and Renault aren't selling anywhere close to that number. Both their companies are seeing very, very slow sales in India. So Nissan currently only has a Magnite. Renault is selling the Triber and the Kiger. The Magnite and the Kiger are on the same platform. The Magnite just got a facelift. Big press conference. A lot of journalists in the Middle East were called because the Magnite is exported from India to many left and right markets in the Middle East region as well. Now, one journalist at the press conference asked what will happen to the alliance with Renault and Nissan with this merger talks with Honda and Nissan. Renault still has a significant stake in Nissan, about 40%, if I remember correctly. Now, will Renault end up holding a portion of the merged entity? Now, the talk at the press conference on Honda executives went out of their way to try and clarify that this was not the case, that this is not Honda bailing out Nissan. They went out of their way to explain that, but people still think that. If you can see the share prices, Honda went down, Nissan went up. So the public and analysts think that, not me. Well, me too, actually. But the plant in Oragadam, what's going to happen to that? Will Nissan sell that plant off to Renault? And what happens now to the plans by both Renault and Nissan to develop vehicles based on the third generation Dacia Duster for India? I mean, it'll probably be the Dacia Duster sold under Renault badge as a Renault Duster. Renault, I think, made a massive mistake by, not bringing the second generation Duster into India. They pretty much created the CSUV segment and then ran away. I don't know why they didn't do that. Huge tactical error. Nissan got in the kicks again on the old platform. Great engine, that turbo kicks, that 1.3 turbo that both Nissan and Renault use. Fantastic engine, but you could make out the vehicle platform was old. If you went into a corner hard with that car, you felt that it's like an old man with a teenager's heart. So that was there about that particular car. So the third generation Duster will form the basis of what Renault and Nissan are going to bring to India in 2025, and there's going to be a three-row version of that vehicle as well from both Renault and Nissan. I'm assuming that vehicle is well down the road in product development, so that will probably come out next year no matter what. But what happens in the future, what happens in future product development that I'm sure the Alliance is doing together for markets like India? I don't know, because India is too small for the Alliance. That's a massive plant. 400,000 cars is a massive plant. Renault will not get to that number anytime soon. So will they do a Ford and sell that on? Will the new merged Honda-Nissan entity, or some joking Ninda, in Hindi that means condemn, buy that plant in Oragadam? That's a massive amount of capacity. Or will it be another car maker which can buy that plant? Maybe. God knows. But, basically Nissan and Honda, if they merge, Honda's plant at Tapukara is enough to cover their production needs for the next few years, because the Tapukara plant can go up to 300,000 units per year very easily. And the talk is that Honda and Nissan will collaborate on future platforms and on future cars. So I'm sure all Nissan branded cars will be made at Tapukara. So what happens at Oragadam is going to be very interesting. And obviously the Tamil Nadu state government will play a role over here, just like they did during the Ford plant shutdown in near Chennai as well, which is being restarted by Ford, incidentally. So the Oragadam plant is going to play a major role over here. It's clear that Honda will take a lead in this partnership in Japan, across the world, and obviously in India as well. But the Oragadam question is one that I think both Renault, Nissan and Honda will need to answer. And what does this mean for Nissan's future plans in India? Will the merger say that, we don't need two brands in India, we just need one? Honda is enough because, Nissan is barely selling any cars. Or will that depend on the future launch of the Duster-based product by Nissan? Will it be the next generation Terrano? I don't know what nameplate they'll use. So that remains to be seen. And it's going to be interesting. India is a very small piece of the puzzle, but a critical piece of the puzzle. We are the world's third largest car market after all. And both for Honda and for Nissan, India will play a major role going forward. And they'll have to think of the Indian market, because China is pretty much locked out to the Japanese car makers. North America and Europe are very vital, but hey, India. So let's see what happens here. It's going to be interesting. They'll both have to take some calls. There's too much production capacity. So let's see what they do with Oragadam or Tapukara. And of course, the management of both companies in India has no clue. So there's no point talking to them. Also, a lot of what I'm saying is speculation, because we don't know what's going to happen. We'll probably have a better idea by the middle of the year when the merger is formally announced. Thank you for watching, and do remember to subscribe to my channel for more awesome automotive content. A bit more analytical stuff I'll be doing in the coming year, not just reviews, but stuff like this. Thanks so much.